Also today we're going to talk about simplifying expressions. This is not going to go away. Simplifying expressions will never go away. It's something that you're going to see anytime algebra or solving problems or anything, right? Even geometry. Anything that you do, you're going to have to know how to simplify expressions. BEDMAS is going to follow you all your life. Distributive property, collecting like terms, simplifying all of these things. No matter what you do with math, even with like chemistry or anything, physics, anything that involves math, you're going to have to do this. All right. BEDMAS is an acronym for the order that we follow, the order of operation. So we have to do the brackets first, inside the brackets, exponents, division, multiplication, whatever comes first, and addition, subtraction, whatever comes first. Okay, you guys are familiar with the acronym BEDMAS? All right. And then when I use the acronym FOIL here, it means when I multiply my two brackets together. Okay, that's expanding binomials. Okay, so with the BEDMAS, okay, basically when I have something that looks like this and I want to simplify, I want to find the answer, right? I have to follow the BEDMAS order. All right, what's the first thing that I want to do here? Solve inside the brackets, okay? If you have something inside the bracket that you can add, subtract, multiply, whatever, you want to do that first, okay? So if I look, I have three brackets here, but what I see here in the first one, it's already solved. It's already simplified, so I can't do much for the first one. If I look at the second bracket, I have 3 minus 7, so I have to do that. Okay, so that gives me -4 squared. Again, in the third bracket, there's nothing I can do, so I'm going to leave it and write the rest. Okay, so that I did my first step, which is I solved inside the bracket. After the brackets, we have what comes after B? Exponents. So any term that has an exponent, I want to solve it. I want to find the answer for it. So if you see here, I have -2 cubed, which is going to give me -8. Okay? -2 times -2 times -2. That is -8. What's -4 squared?
Positive
16. It's a positive because it's a negative times a negative. That gives you a positive. I can, if I want, I can simplify the next one as well. Yes, it's not an exponent, but because it has a negative and a negative right after each other, right here, right? These two negative after each other, I can simplify this. What would that give me? A positive 4. So +4. And how about the last term? -9. Yes? Why is this not +9? Why is this going to be, and it's going to end up as -9, while this one, which is -4 squared, ended up as a +16?
Because the negative sign was not having the power.
That's right.
Only the number 3 was having the power.
That's right. So there's a big difference between this and this. Okay? This power of 2 in the bracket, or -3 in the bracket to the power of 2, that's telling you that it's -3 times itself, times -3. Okay? While this one is telling you it's a -3 times 3. It's only the 3 that's being repeated twice. Okay? This one right here, it's -3 times -3. And that's why, like I always tell my students, don't put brackets anywhere unless you know for sure the brackets goes there. Okay? And don't omit brackets. They mean something. Okay? Don't ignore them. So I've done my exponents. I simplified my exponents. What comes after exponents? Multiplication or division. Division or multiplication, they're interchangeable, whatever comes first. Okay? So if in the equation you have multiplication first, you have to do that. If you have division first, you have to do that. So if I have, let's say, this, I have to do this first. If I have this, then I have to do this first. Okay? Whatever comes first, I have to do it. I can't just do whatever I want. Okay? It comes in order with respect to division and multiplication. Okay? So in this case, I have negative 8 times 16. What's negative 8 times 16? Negative, right? And then all what I have here is addition and subtraction. Okay? So I'm going to have to do negative 128 minus 9 plus 4. It doesn't matter in this case right now, right? So you can do it all together if you want. So what's your answer for this? Negative 133. Okay? Are we okay with this? So bracket first, exponent, and then you follow the division, multiplication, whatever comes first, addition, subtraction. Be careful what calculator you use. Be careful with some of the calculators. You must enter, like if you have negative 2 cube, right? You have to enter it in brackets. Sometimes the calculator will, even if you enter negative 2 cube, the calculator right away will put that bracket for you. Sometimes if you don't need that bracket, you have to be careful what the calculator does for you. That's why you should be aware of what your answer is. Calculators are important, but at the same time, you need to know if you have a negative base and your exponent is odd, your answer is going to be negative. So be careful what you enter in the calculator. That's my end point. All right? Are we okay with this? All right. Next question. Basically what I have here is do you guys remember the words monomial, binomial? Do you know what these are? Do you know the word terms, like what terms mean? I want you just to look at this right here, okay? I'm going to look at the brackets. How many terms do I have inside the bracket? 2 terms, right? Terms, it's a term. It's something that has letters and numbers, right? And then I have 2 terms because there's something plus something else. So this is 1 term and this is another term, okay? When I have 2 terms, we call this binomial, okay, because it's 2. A 1 term, it's a monomial, okay? So basically this is a 1 term by itself. Yes, there's letters and numbers multiplied together, but it's considered as 1 term, okay? Once you add them and subtract, then there are different terms, okay? So if I have, let's say, 2x minus 5, this is 2 terms, okay? If I have 2xy, that's 1 term, okay? So what I have here is I have a monomial, which is the negative 2xy, and I have it's multiplied by a binomial, okay? Once I have this, to expand and simplify, I have to follow the BEDMAS is involved here, but there is a property. What do we do here to simplify, to expand and simplify? FOIL. FOIL is if you have 2 binomials. So if I have this, I'm going to do the FOIL. In the case of a monomial and a binomial, we call it the distributive property. FOIL is part of the distributive property, okay? So with a distributive property, that means this term that's outside is going to be multiplied by the first term, and then I'm going to have to multiply it by the second term. That's why it's called the distributive property. Okay? So if I'm going to multiply negative 2xy times x, what do you get?
Negative 2x squared y.
Do you guys agree with that? Negative 2x squared y. Yes? Remember, when I multiply, I look at the, so I have this, right? When I'm multiplying, the numbers, it's negative 2. There's no other numbers. I have x times x. If I want to follow the exponent law, this is to the power of 1, this is to the power of 1. What do I do with the power when I have multiplication? Add them. So that's going to be x squared. And then y, there's no other y, so it stays as y. Right? Then when I multiply my second term, so I have negative 2xy times 5y. Yes? So negative 2 times 5, that's negative 10. Then x, there's no other x, so I'm going to keep it as x. And I have y times y, which is y squared. Okay? Now I can look at both terms. So I have term 1 and term 2. I can look at the terms. They're not like terms because the exponents are not the same, right? So if I have x squared and I have x, I have y and y squared. So they're not like terms. I can't add them. Okay? The only time you can add terms if they're like terms. Okay? Which means they have the same letter and the same exponent. So that's it. I'm done. This property that I used here, it's called the distributive property. Down low to that right. Are you guys okay with this? The next one is when I have two binomials multiplied together, right? Remember, the word binomial means two terms, right? So I have two terms in each bracket. They're multiplied together, which means I'm going to FOIL, which means I'm going to do first. So multiply the first together. So that's x times x, which is x squared. Then I have to multiply my outer. So x times 4, that's going to be 4x. I have to multiply the inner. So that's going to be negative 3x. And then multiply the last terms, which is going to give you negative 12. So remember that FOIL stands for first, outer, inner, and last. This is where the acronym FOIL comes from. Once I do the FOIL, then I have to collect like terms because it's not only I expand and then simplify. Do I have like terms in this case? I have 4x minus 3x. They're like terms because they have the same letter and they have the same exponent. So in this case, if I add these like terms, so that's going to be x squared plus 1x minus 12. For D, I'm going to just start it up with you, and I'm going to leave you guys to do it, and then we'll take it up. So what we have here, we have a binomial to the power of 2 minus what we call this a trinomial in brackets. How can I simplify the binomial to the power of 2?
So it's the formula A plus B whole square.
Yes, but if we don't remember that formula, what do we do?
Multiplied by itself.
Multiply it by itself. It's very important that you don't mix this up. You have to, if you don't remember the formula, which is, I mean, we don't usually teach it in the C level class, in the college level class, but there is a formula which is the A plus B squared is A squared plus 2AB plus B squared. Don't worry about it. You don't need to memorize this. You can write this twice. And then when I write it twice, what do I follow? I have to FOIL, right? And then minus 2x squared minus 2x plus 3. FOIL this because multiplication have to happen first, okay? Then we'll talk about the rest, all right?